The sting of betrayal cut deeper than any knife. I stood frozen, my phone glowing with photos of my daughter Emily's birthday party, her laughing, cake on her cheeks, James raising a glass. My only child, my Emily, hadn't invited me. "Mom, you're too old for this vibe," Shed said last week, brushing me off like I was nobody. Little did she know, those words lit a fuse. By the time I was done, Shed be on her knees, tears falling, begging for the forgiveness she never offered me. If you're watching, hit subscribe and let me know where you're tuning in from. I am Margaret Thompson, and this is my story, raw, messy, and packed with twists you won't see coming. It all began in a quiet Atlanta suburb, where I raised Emily with every drop of love I had. I was 24 when she was born, my husband William and I scraping by in a cramped apartment. He worked long hours as a mechanic, I waitressed at a diner. But Emily was our world bright, curious, always sketching pictures of us together. "Mommy, I'll take care of you when I'm big," Shed promise, her tiny arms around my neck. Those words echo now, bitter and hollow. Fast forward 38 years. William passed 5 years ago, a heart attack that came out of nowhere. Dr. Stephen Grant, our family doctor, said it was years of stress and overwork. I was 57, working as a school librarian to keep the lights on. Emily, Shed soared, a marketing exec at a flashy downtown firm. She married James, a slick-talking businessman with a smile that could sell sand in a desert. They had 2 kids, me grandkids, Ava and Ethan, my heart and soul. Ava, 10, was my little shadow, always reading books. I'd sneak her from the library. Ethan, 8, was a whirlwind, begging for my peanut butter cookies. I'd watch them every weekend, spoiling them while Emily and James chased their picture-perfect life, big house, fancy cars. That house, I helped buy it, giving them $50,000 from William's life insurance. Family helps family, I told myself, draining my savings. But the cracks were there. Emily started pulling away. Calls ignored, visits rare. Mom, we're swamped, Shed snap. James was worse, always eyeing my modest home like it was his next deal. Our neighbor, Linda Harris, would sip coffee with me and mention fights she overheard from their place. "Margaret, something's not right," Shed say. "Emily's different." My best friend Susan saw it too. At 60, she's my anchor, a retired teacher with zero patience for nonsense. "Maggie, you're too kind to them," Shed say over our weekly diner meetups. "Emily's treating you like you're disposable." The betrayal crept in slowly. Last Thanksgiving, they forgot me in family photos. My birthday in April, a text, no visit. But Emily's birthday snub was the final blow. Her 38th was a big deal Shed been planning for months. Rachel, her chatty friend, let it slip at the supermarket. "Margaret, you must be thrilled for the party," she said. I smiled, but inside I was breaking. I called Emily that night. "Honey, about your birthday." She cut me off. "Mom, it's adults only. You'd hate it, loud music, drinks. Kids are with a sitter, just stay home." Her tone was ice. I hung up, tears burning. Too old, a burden, after all I'd done. That night I couldn't sleep. Memories flooded: Emily's first bike ride, her prom where William and I beamed, the day she had Ava, and I held her hand through every contraction. Where was my daughter? Next day I told Susan. "She didn't invite me," I choked out. Susan hugged me tight. "That's cold, Maggie, but don't break fight." Fight, the idea took root. William's will, handled by Richard Brooks, our lawyer, had never read it closely, too lost in grief. Maybe it was time. Emily's party posts hit social media in a glittering dress, James toasting, friends cheering. "Happy birthday, Queen." The captions read, not one word about me. But I was digging. Linda whispered about James' late-night meetings. "He's not alone," she said. Mark, Emily's coworker, hinted at her shady expense reports. "Audits are coming," he warned over coffee. The pain grew, but so did my resolve. Ava called me secretly. "Grandma, why weren't you at Mommy's party? I missed you." Her voice shattered me. "Soon, sweetie," I promised. "Things will change." The days after Emily's birthday, snub melted into a haze of hurt and quiet fury. I couldn't shake the image of her laughing at that party, surrounded by friends, while I sat alone in my dark living room. William's absence felt heavier than ever. Had he seen this coming? I needed answers, and I started with Richard Brooks, our family lawyer. His office was a small, cluttered space in downtown Atlanta, smelling of coffee and old files. I sat across from him, gripping my purse like a lifeline. Margaret, it's been a while, he said, peering over his glasses. What's this about? I need to see William's will again, I said, voice steady despite my racing heart. Every detail, no shortcuts. He nodded, pulling a thick file from a cabinet. As he read, my world shifted. William hadn't just left me the house and a small savings account. There was a trust fund for Ava and Ethan, with strict conditions, and hers where my breath caught shares in Jameis Real Estate Company, bought secretly years ago. William wanted you protected, Richard said. If Emily or James mistreat you, certain assets can be reclaimed. Mistreat me? It was like William was whispering from beyond, guiding me. I left with copies of the will, my mind spinning. Meanwhile, Emily acted like nothing happened. A week after her party, she called, voice syrupy. Mom, can you watch the kids this weekend? James and I need a break Vegas trip. No, sorry, no mention of excluding me. Of course, I said, swallowing my anger. But this time, Id used the opportunity. While babysitting, Ava and Ethan unknowingly gave me clues. Mommy says you forget things, Grandma, Ava said, coloring at my kitchen table. That's why she didn't invite you. Ethan piped up, Daddy's got a friend who comes over when Mommy's at work. My stomach churned. James cheating. I cornered Linda Harris later over tea. It's true, Margaret, she said softly. A woman blonde, maybe 30, drives a silver SUV. I've seen them at odd hours. I started watching their house from my window, snapping discreet photos. Then I reached out to Mark Wilson, Emily's colleague who'd once vented about her at a company picnic. Over coffee, I played concerned mom. She's stressed, he said, hesitating. But there's talk of audits. Emily's been creative with expense reports. The pieces were coming together. Susan helped me organize everything at her place, spreading photos and documents on her dining table. Maggie, this is explosive, she said, eyes wide. But revenge is a fire, don't let it burn you too. Nights were the hardest. I'd cry alone, haunted by memories. William teaching Emily to ride a bike, us cheering at her college graduation, me holding her as she sobbed after her first breakup. Where did I lose her? Was it my fault for giving too much? Emily's arrogance grew bolder. Dropping off the kids, she glanced around my house. Mom, you look worn out. This place is too much for you. Ever think about assisted living? We found a decent one cheap. Assisted living. At 62, I forced a smile, maybe someday. That weekend, with Ava and Ethan asleep, I found a burner phone in Jameis' jacket pocket, tucked in Ethan's backpack he'd borrowed for a game. Texts from Kate, not racial steamy messages, plans to meet at a hotel. I screenshotted everything. Rachel, Emily's friend, was my next move. I called anonymously, voice disguised. I know about Jameis' affair, I said. She gasped. Who's this? I hung up. Was she covering for Emily or clueless? Dr. Stephen Grant called for my annual checkup. Margaret, your blood pressure's up. Stress. I spilled a little, eyes stinging. Family can break you, he said, shaking his head. William always worried Emily took after his stubborn streak. Enough was enough. I planned a family dinner at my place, Emily, James, the kids, Susan for backup, Linda as a neighbor friend. But first, I met Richard again to lock in the legal moves. Emily texted, casual as ever. Mom, about your house, Jameis' firm could buy it for a steal. Greed, plain as day. The dinner was set, tension coiling like a snake. The night of the family dinner felt like walking into a lion's den, my heart pounding with a mix of dread and resolve. I'd prepared everything down to the last detail. William's old dining table, set with our best silver, candles casting shadows that danced like ghosts of better times. Emily and James arrived 20 minutes late, as if my time meant nothing. Ava bounded in first, wrapping her arms around me. Grandma, I brought you a story I wrote. It was about a brave grandma saving her family ironic, and it nearly broke me. Ethan followed, chattering about his soccer game. Emily gave me a perfunctory hug. Mom, this is cozy, but honestly, sell this house already. It's outdated. James smirked, adjusting his expensive watch. Yeah, Margaret, we could turn it into something modern, market's prime. Susan arrived next, her eyes sharp as she squeezed my hand. You've got this, she murmured. Linda Harris came bearing a pie, her smile knowing. For the gathering, she said, winking subtly. We sat down to eat roast chicken, mashed potatoes, the works. Small talk was strained, Ethan boasting about school, Ava sharing book recommendations. Then Emily pivoted as I knew she would. Mom, about assisted living we toured a spot. It's basic, but you'd manage. You're not as sharp as you used to be. I poured wine, hands steady. Manage with what money? The savings you're eyeing. James laughed it off. Come on, family shares. That $50,000 you gave us. Time to give back. Give back, the audacity fueled me. I waited until dessert apple pie, William's favorite before clearing my throat. I have some things to share. All eyes on me. First, William's will. I reviewed it fully. Emily sighed. Mom, that's old news. Move on. Not old, I said calmly. He left me controlling interest in your company, James. Silent investment from years back. James's fork clattered. What? No way. I slid the document's acroscopies from Richard. Read it. Emily grabbed them, face paling. This is fake. It's not, I pressed. And the kids trust, it's conditional. Mistreatment of me voids your access. Susan nodded supportively. Linda watched quietly. Then the hammer. And James is cheating. I connected my phone to the TV, displaying photos of him with Kate, texts scrolling like damning evidence. Emily's gasp echoed. You spied on us. Protected what's mine, I said. Ava looked wide-eyed. I quickly sent the kids to the living room with cartoons. James stuttered. It's a misunderstanding. And Emily, I turned to her. Your embezzlement at work. Mark confirmed the audits. She shot up, chair scraping. You're insane. How dare you dig into my life? I dare because you called me old, useless, a burden, excluded me from your birthday like I was trash. My voice cracked, tears threatening, but I held firm. After everything grazing you, supporting you, giving you that house money. Chaos erupted. James denied. Emily screamed accusations. You're jealous, Mom, always have been. James bolted for the door. Emily grabbed the kids, hurling one last barb. You're cut off, dead to us. The door slammed, leaving silence. Ava's forgotten drawing lay on the table, crumpled. Susan hugged me as I sank into a chair, sobs breaking free. You were brave, Maggie. Linda patted my back. They'll learn. But the victory tasted like ash, was exposing them worth the rift. The next morning, my phone blew up Emily's furious texts. You'll pay for this, James called, threatening lawsuits. I ignored them, contacting Richard to activate the will's clauses. Mark tipped off the company auditors anonymously. Yet doubt crept in. Nights, I'd stare at photos of happier times William, Emily as a toddler, us at the beach. Had I pushed too far? Ava's secret call came 2 days later. Grandma, Mommy and Daddy are fighting. I miss you. Her innocence pierced me. Hang on, sweetie, I whispered. My resilience wavered, but the storm was just beginning. In the weeks that followed the disastrous dinner, my world felt like it was crumbling under the weight of my own decisions. The house, once filled with echoes of William's laughter and Emily's childhood giggles, now amplified my loneliness. I'd wake up in the middle of the night, heart racing, second-guessing everything. Had I been too harsh? Was exposing their secrets the right path, or had I just shattered what was left of our family? Susan called daily, her voice a steady anchor. Maggie, you stood up for yourself. That's strength, not cruelty. But strength felt hollow when Ava's tearful calls came in secret. Grandma, why is everyone mad? And I had to lie, saying it would pass. The legal wheels turned slowly, but relentlessly. Richard Brooks filed the paperwork to reclaim the shares in James's company. Margaret Williams set this up like a safety net, he explained over coffee. You've got majority control know enough to influence decisions. James's firm was already teetering. Rumors of shady deals had been swirling, and my move pushed it closer to the edge. Mark Wilson kept me updated anonymously. Emily's on thin ice. The audit found discrepancies thousands in falsified expenses. She was suspended pending investigation, her perfect career unraveling like a cheap sweater. Emotionally, I was a wreck. Dr. Stephen Grant prescribed something for anxiety, but pills couldn't mend the ache. I'd sit in William's old armchair, flipping through photo albums or wedding day, Emily's birth, family vacations to the Georgia coast. "What would you do, Will?" I'd whisper to the empty room. Linda Harris stopped by with casseroles, her eyes full of empathy. "You've been through hell, Margaret, but holding on to resentment, it'll eat you alive." She was right. The dark thoughts crept in visions of Emily's downfall, bringing twisted satisfaction, only to leave me emptier. Meanwhile, Emily and James's life imploded. Rachel Evans, ever the gossip, let slip details during a concerned call to Meprobably fishing for info. "Emily's a mess, Margaret. James moved out temporarily. They're fighting nonstop." I didn't respond, but inside the pain twisted. My daughter, once my pride, now reduced to this because of her choice and mine. Ethan got sick with a fever, and Emily had the nerve to text, "Mom, can you come help?" The sitter byled. No apology, just entitlement. I replied, "Handle it yourself. I'm too old, remember." Blocking her number felt like cutting a lifeline, but necessary. Resilience came in small bursts. Susan dragged me to a senior yoga class where I met other women with similar Storyskids who forgot them until they needed something. "You're not alone," one said, and for the first time, I believed it. I started volunteering at the library again, reading to kids like Ava and Ethan. It reminded me of my worth beyond being a doormat mother. But the darkness lingered. One night I dreamed of William, his hand on my shoulder. "Protect the grandkids, Maggie. That's the legacy." Waking up, I called Richard. "What about custody if things get worse?" He sighed. "We can petition for visitation rights given the instability." James tried to sue for the shares, but Richard shut it down. William's will was ironclad. Emily's job loss was confirmed. Mark said she was fired, blacklisted in the industry. Their house payments lagged, that $50,000 I'd given, squandered on luxuries. Foreclosure whispers started. Yet my heart broke for Ava and Ethan. Ava sent a drawing through Lindau's together with a note. "I love you, Grandma, please come back." Tears soaked the paper. I was resilient but crumbling. The turning point loomed when Emily showed up unannounced, face gaunt, eyes red. "Mom, we need to talk." Her voice trembled, but pride still lingered. Emily stood on my porch that rainy afternoon, looking like a shadow of the confident woman I'd raised hair disheveled, makeup smudged from crying, her designer coat hanging limp. It had been 3 weeks since the dinner explosion, and in that time, I'd heard through Linda that their world was collapsing. James's company board calling emergency meetings, Emily jobless and scrambling for interviews that went nowhere. Ava and Ethan's school had even sent a note about unpaid fees. But seeing her there, vulnerable, stirred a storm in Mepity mixed with the raw hurt she'd inflicted. "Mom," she said again, voice cracking as I opened the door. "Please let me in, I need to talk." I stepped aside wordlessly, leading her to the kitchen where the air still smelled of the morning's coffee. She sat, fidgeting with her wedding ring, James's ring, the one I'd helped pay for. "Everything's falling apart," she blurted. "James left me, said it's all my fault for pushing you away, the house. We're behind on payments, and my job gone. How did you? Why?" I poured us tea, my hands steady from practice. "Why, Emily, you tell me, you treated me like I was invisible. The birthday party, that was the end for me." Memories flash at her as a girl, begging for one more story at bedtime, now begging for salvation. "I gave you everything, love, money, support, and you threw it back, calling me old, a burden." She buried her face in her hands. "I was stupid, stressed at work, James pressuring me about finances. I thought, if I distanced you, maybe we'd seem more independent. But Mom, the kids miss you. Ava cries every night. Ethan's acting out at school." Her words hit like arrows, piercing the armor I'd built. The grandkids were innocents in this mess, caught in the crossfire of adult selfishness. I sat across from her, voice soft but firm. "And what about James's affair? You're embezzling. Did you think I wouldn't find out?" She flinched. "James, it was a mistake. He swore it was over. And work, I was desperate, bonuses cut, bills piling. But Mom, please help us. The trust fund, the shares reverse it, for the kids." The audacity reignited my anger. "Help, like you helped me when I was grieving Dad, or when you snubbed me on your birthday." Tears welled in her eyes. "I'm sorry, okay? I was wrong. You're not useless, you're everything. Please, Mom." Part of me wanted to fold, to hug her and make it right. But the pain ran deep. The nights alone, the betrayal's sting. Apologies don't erase actions, Emily. You need to face consequences. She sobbed then, real gut-wrenching cries. What will we do? We're losing the house. James wants a divorce. Richard had warned me this might commeth karma unfolding. James's company voted him out, using my shares as leverage. Emily's reputation was tarnished. No firm would touch her. But watching her break, I felt a dark satisfaction fade into sorrow. This wasn't just revenge, it was a mirror to her flaws. Susan called later that day. How'd it go? I recounted, voice trembling. She's suffering, Sue, but so did I. That's growth, Maggie, now heal. The emotional journey deepened therapy sessions Dr. Grant recommended, where I unpacked years of enabling. You sacrifice too much, the counselor said. Boundaries are love too. Resilience built, brick by brick. I visited the kids secretly through Linda, slipping gifts and notes. Ava's hug. Grandma, fix it please. But the twist sharpened when Richard called. Margaret, new development. Williams will has another clause of forgiveness option. If Emily proves change, partial restoration. Hope flickered, but dark doubts remained. Would she truly change or manipulate again? Emily returned days later, humbled with papers, therapy enrollment, job search logs. Mom, I'll earn it back. The consequence loomed, testing us both. Emily's second visit hit like a thunderclap, pulling me into the heart of the storm I'd unleashed. She arrived with a folder clutched in her hands, her eyes hollow from sleepless nights, but there was a spark desperation mixed with something that looked like genuine remorse. I let her in again, the kitchen table becoming our battlefield-turned-confessional. Mom, she started, spreading out papers, enrollment forms for couples therapy, a resume revamped for honest jobs, even a handwritten letter from Ava begging me to make peace. I've started fixing things. James and I are talking, he's ending it with her, swearing to change. And me? I reported myself to the company, offered restitution. Please activate that forgiveness clause in Dad's will. For the kids. I scanned the documents, my heart warring between skepticism and hope. Richard had explained the clause. Proof of reform could restore partial access to the trust and shares, but it required my sign-off. Emily, words and papers are easy. Actions? You've hurt me deeply, excluded me, plotted to shove me aside like old furniture. Flashbacks assaulted me. Her birthday posts mocking my absence, James's smug grins, the loneliness that had become my shadow. Yet, seeing her tremble, I remembered William's words in a letter I'd found tucked in the will. Forgive when earned, Maggie. Family is our anchor. She knelt, then actually dropped to her knees, tears splashing on my floor. Mom, I was blind, greedy, Dad's death. It scared me, made me chase security the wrong way. I pushed you away because you reminded me of vulnerability, but losing everything. It's shown May were my strength. Her voice broke, raw humiliation in every sob. James called during our talk, his voice tinny on speaker. Margaret, I messed up. The affair was escape from pressure. I'm selling assets to pay debts. Please give us a chance. The climax built as I waited all. Dark satisfaction from their downfall tempted me, James's company folding under my control, Emily job hunting at entry levels, their house auction signs looming. Guests at her birthday party had whispered about the scandals Rachel spread, her social circle shrinking. Humiliation complete. Emily, once the queen, now begging the useless mom. But triumph mingled with release. Tears streamed down my face as I hugged her, first tentative, then fierce. Okay, I whispered. Partial restoration. But conditions, family therapy together, weekly visits, no more secrets. She nodded frantically, relief washing over her like a wave. James arrived minutes later, sheepish, hugging me awkwardly. Thank you, Margaret. Yet as they left, doubt lingered. Was this true change or survival? The emotional release hit me alone, sobbing in William's chair, closure teasing but not fully grasped. Ava and Ethan came over that weekend, their joy a balm. Grandma's back, Ethan cheered, but the full healing, that would come with time. The months that followed Emily's plea were a whirlwind of tentative mending, each step forward laced with the ghosts of our shared pain. Family therapy sessions became our battleground, raw, unflinching hours where truths spilled like blood. Emily admitted her greed, how William's death had terrified her into building walls of success, excluding me to avoid facing her own fears of loss. James confessed his affair stemmed from feeling trapped, but owned the betrayal. I laid bare my hurt birthday snub like a knife twist, years of giving only to be discarded. Tears flowed freely. Ava and Ethan joined some sessions, their innocent questions cutting deepest. "Why did we fight, Grandma?" The therapist nodded approvingly as we rebuilt Bound Our Wrists No More entitlement, weekly dinners mandatory, therapy ongoing. Karma's payoff unfolded in raw, humiliating detail for them. James's company, under my influence, restructured. He lost his CEO title, demoted to consultant, his ego shattered as former colleagues whispered. Emily started at an entry-level job, coffee runs and late nights humbling her queenly airs. Their house sold at a loss, forcing a move to a modest apartment, no more luxury, just reality. At a session, Emily broke down describing a former friend's snub. She looked at me like I was nothing. Shock etched her face when I revealed I'd anonymously tipped Rachel about their scandals, watching their social circle evaporate. James's mistress ghosted him, his attempts to reach her met with blocks. Their downfall was completely humiliated, stripped bare, begging for scraps of normalcy. Yet in that raw exposure came my triumph. One evening, as we shared a simple meal at my house, the one they'd coveted, Emily reached for my hand. "Mom, I see you now, truly." Tears cascaded down my cheeks, a release like exhaling after holding breath for years. Closure washed over me, William's legacy honored not in vengeance but in redemption. I felt light, resilient, whole. The dark cloud lifted, hope blooming as Ava read to me. Ethan laughed freely. We'd survived the storm, emerging stronger. Reflecting now, life's twists teach us betrayal cuts deep, but forgiveness, when earned, heals deeper. I wouldn't change the pain, it forged me. To my family, I say, cherish those who love you unconditionally. And to you, dear listener, remember, sometimes the pawn becomes the queen in her own story. Thanks for listening. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your own experiences in the comments. Your stories matter, let's connect through them.